two inner circles in your life. And I wish I learned this a long time ago. Your family and your friends and, people you grew up with, that inner circle probably should never touch your business inner circle, because that should be like your safe zone. That's your escape. I had the wrong people around me, the wrong accounting, the wrong legal, the wrong everything, the wrong executives. I had the wrong model. And if that didn't get destroyed and I didn't have a moment to step back, and even though I was in a dark, dark place and I could have went to a dark, even darker place mentally and hated the world and became very bitter and jaded, I realized this happened for a reason. I thank God almost every day for allowing me to continue to be here and fulfill whatever purpose that I'm here for. And that accident and that experience seasoned me to really know that I can handle anything and overcome anything.
Welcome back to the podcast. We've been interviewing many people who have had careers in ministry, but my next guest is a serial entrepreneur, an extremely successful man in the marketplace. I'm very curious to hear his take on the idea of purpose in life. Can we know what our purpose is? And as a Christian, can we be called to the marketplace equally as we are for ministry? Brian Esposito is a luminary in the corporate world, and he's consecutively been ranked among the top 10 CEOs globally in 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2024. Which is acknowledged by the World CEO Ranking Awards. As the visionary founder and CEO of Esposito Intellectual Enterprises, he helms an expansive empire comprising of over 110 entities and over 200 plus joint ventures, with a dynamic presence across 25 plus diverse industries worldwide. In 2021, Brian's prowess was further highlighted when he was honored as one of the top 100 people in real estate. This accolade was closely followed in 2022, where he was celebrated as one of the top 100 innovators and entrepreneurs, underscoring his exceptional entrepreneurial spirit and innovative mindset. Brian's profound expertise and triumphant track record extend across both private and public sectors, and he's renowned for his strategic acumen in building companies and brands that are not only successful, but also financially robust, boasting strong balance sheets and impressive earnings and sustained profitability. In August of 23, Brian embarked on a new venture as the CEO of Diamond Lake Minerals, Inc. In this role, he swiftly implemented a transformative strategy, completely overhauling the company's direction. His leadership prowess was evident in the way he surrounded the company with industry icons as advisors. This strategic move, coupled with his innovative leadership, skyrocketed the company's share price from a modest 5 cents to a remarkable $13. Concurrently, the market cap of Diamond Lake soared from over 1 million to an astounding 413 million, a testament to Brian's extraordinary leadership and his business acumen. I know this is just the start of groundbreaking work that you're doing at Diamond Lake with the integration of blockchain technology and tokenization of real-world assets. You're a forerunner in this space. I spend a lot of time on X and social media, and most of my feed has to do with blockchain or cryptocurrency. And I feel like everyone, or at least in this bubble that I've put myself in, everyone knows about blockchain. But in real life, most regular people, when I say blockchain or cryptocurrency, they think of Bitcoin. And most people are like, all I know is I could have made a lot of money and it's scary, etc. But, you're at the forefront of this integration. So I'm glad you're here today to be a part of this podcast.
Thank you, sir. Honored to be here.
About almost a year ago, I think, as I was kind of exploring options, I reached out to you and asked you about opportunities and things. And you asked me a poignant question that really kick-started some of this book and actually my process of thinking of purpose and calling in life. You asked me and you said, "What is your passion?" And it caught me off guard. So I never really explored this idea before. my mind immediately went to, what are my interests? What are my hobbies? But nothing really resonated as a passion. So there's plenty of subjects I studied and tried to learn about, but I felt like passion was a deeper question than just interest and hobbies and gifts. So I wrestled through this for a couple weeks, probably even months. I ended up having to enlist my wife. I said, "Okay, I wrote some things down, but I really need your insight to my my passions." And sure enough, by verbatim, she read me like a book. She's like, "This is what your passions are." And I looked down at my paper and said, "Yep, you called it." So that's kind of the genesis of this book called Fully Yielded Vessels, and where I'm attempting to answer the question of how we can know our purpose in life. I came across Steve Jobs quotes. Steve Jobs is regularly quoted talking about being passionate for a greater cause. He also says the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So deep down, he knew that his work was for a greater purpose that drove his passion for work. And we all benefit from this man's work, because I can't count the number of iPhones I've had or Apple products over the years. And he's truly made a mark on the society because of his passion. So I just want to kick off before I dive into your history. How would you describe passion in your own words?
That's a great question. And a way to kick off this discussion. I think allow me to talk this through, but it gets clouded, right, with interest or hobbies or desires. And I think it changes, or those interests change as you get older and evolve, and life pulls you in certain directions. And I think majority of people mistake interests for passions, and myself included during this journey. But a passion is something that, if you allow yourself and some of the guards to come down, because I don't care who you are, as kind of the minute you're born into this world, life is thrown at you in a weird way to build walls around your heart, your emotions. You become so guarded, and you kind of lose yourself. I think media has a lot to do with it, where it's just brainwashing some narrative for you to think that's what you think. Is that really what you think, or is that what somebody else is telling you what to think? Even TV, film, and music, all these things are in there to kind of, not kind of, to brainwash you. And I love all these industries. I'm not discrediting them. I think as an outsider looking in, it's absolutely brilliant, the mind control, even to make you go and buy a certain product or to wear a certain brand. I know I'm here for a reason, and there's been certain moments where I shouldn't be here. I've had multiple near-death experiences, so that really elevates that here for a reason. And I've always, I love helping people, right? I love building teams. I love supporting companies. I love nurturing entrepreneurs. So I have found my journey and the stuff that I've been through. My passion is to be overly generous and help people. And now, how can you do that? Unfortunately, you need a great network, right, to be able to call somebody and help somebody, or to do something and help somebody. And it could be something minuscule to a very grandiose moment. And I don't want anything in return. That's the weird thing about me. Like, I genuinely want to help you. Like, if you said something to me, Richey, I wish I could blah, 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 whatever happens inside of me, like a computer program is set off where I want to go and do that.
That's awesome.
And I want to bring it back to you like a dog chasing a bone or a ball and bringing it back to you. And I don't want anything, which also, now I'm in a very interesting group of people that are icons, right? But getting there, people always kind of tilted their head at me, like thinking I had an ulterior motive. No, I just want to help. And that's a shame that people think that. The first thing they think, what's the gotcha? What do you want? What's the catch-22? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I want to help you. I want to be an asset for you. I want to be an ally for you. I want to be in the trenches with you. Whatever it is, I want to help. So, very long answer is, my passion, besides my interests, which are things like providing fresh, clean water for people around the world, and making sure there's a food for some sort of food for everybody. There's clothing, there's shelter. These are things that I'm that I know I can participate in helping push those things forward, but it also carries over into helping people, right? There's all these different interests involved in, I want to help people. Christian, who's here in the studio with me, every time we speak, I want to help him, and we have great dialogue. And he's been listening to my interviews for years. Like, he knows there's no ulterior motive here. I just want to help people. So that is my passion. The problem with my passion, and as we get older, we start to, well, at least for me, I'll speak for me, not for you or anybody else. I've cultivated, there's a general mass of ways I can help people, like something that can help a wave of people that I really don't have direct contact with. But I have to be very smart as to the one-on-one that I'm helping the right people.
Right.
And I'm helping warranted people, because I only have so much time in the day. And you talk about a vessel, and I think it's a brilliant medium that you're using to connect with people and have them understand. My vessel only has so much energy in the tank every day. And it either gets fully recharged the next day or it gets half recharged the next day. You know, we're human beings, we're not robots. So I've had to teach myself to, all right, I know a bunch of people are going to call or message me or something today. They're all going to have an ask. No, but not really any of them are going to ask me if I need anything, which is a whole different topic. And I got to be very wise as to who I dedicate my time to, so I can refuel my spirit and my soul. Because if you help somebody and they don't care or they don't appreciate it, or they're a jerk about it, or they just dismiss you after you do it, that's not rewarding for you. That doesn't help you fire yourself up to go and help more people. So lot in this answer. I hope that's making some sense.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's uncommon today, because I think a lot of people filter through their own biases, I guess. When you say I have no ulterior motives, I just want to help you, I've realized in my life, people will, it's like reading an email. They read it how they think that what you're saying, and so they're responding in kind of their own internal voice. Like,
interesting, yeah. Their own demons are either listening to it and responding as if it was them. Is that what you're getting at?
Correct. Or in a better way to say, it's like, if they were to ask, they had an ulterior motive. So right. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. That's interesting. Is more than likely, we'll just say world in general, that they may have an ulterior motive, because so when you say I don't have an ulterior motive, that's totally foreign to them. Mm-hmm. Which is really awesome, and it is refreshing.
And it's disappointing, right, for humanity. If that's the first thing people think of, then we have to get back on a good, genuine path where people always see the good in people. But there's just we've been through so much as a society; it's difficult to do.
So you mentioned before you've been on a journey of faith, and you've had experiences with faith recently. Do you mind sharing some of those stories?
Oh yeah, I'm raised Catholic. Went to a Catholic high school, so always raised around Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and guilt. Raised in a Catholic household, there's a lot of guilt. So I've always been very close with God. Not really the church as a physical structure or a priest in the church, but my own direct conversation has been my channel of whether it's venting or trying to understand certain things. So that's been my faith. I'm a huge believer that my grandfather is always around me. It's my dad's father, so I feel his spirit all the time. He was my best friend. He passed away when I was 8. And way too soon, but we spent every day together. I ran home from school to be with him, and when he passed away, which also, I should go back a little bit. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. So my siblings, 2 sisters and a brother, are 10 to 13 years older than me. So I came later on, and that sculpted a lot of who I am today, and maturing, probably way too soon, because I was acting like an 18-year-old when I was 9 or So I learned life lessons through their mistakes or their life lessons as a young age. But also coming along so much later, I had aunts and uncles and grandparents, and I was just surrounded by death. I used to joke around. I was at more funerals and celebratory events growing up because I was just, again, came later on in life. So that really emphasized too my whole company motto is time is our most precious commodity. I had this whole understanding around we're not here for a long time. And cherish the moments, try to be as positive as possible without being ignorant or naive, and just cherish life. And through the journey, and I feel like it's my grandfather, and I feel bad if it's somebody else, but there was moments where I definitely shouldn't be here. One of which was in the city that you were just at. A drunk driver hit me head on in a collision in Nashville, Tennessee. Stupidly landed home from a business trip back at the airport Sunday afternoon. I said, let me just go back to the office. So my office was in downtown Nashville. I should have just went home, right? I should have just enjoyed the Lord's day, but my brain is wired to work. There's hours. The sun is still out, so let me get some work done. And this woman hit me head on. A couple of things happened during that moment. I just happened to, for whatever reason, prior to her hitting me, I knew there was a car to my right, so I was in a 4-lane highway, 2 lanes on each side, no divider in the middle. But I just happened to know there was a car to my right. So I knew as this truck was coming into my lane, I did not want to harm that person. So I don't know how or why, I let off the gas just enough and cut the wheel left as quickly as I could. So she clipped me at a little bit of an angle, still in the front of the car. And that was all that I remember. I didn't hear a sound, which still bothers the hell out of me to this day. People came out of their homes. Like there was obviously a boom of a sound, but I didn't hear it.
Right.
I can't recall it. And if you were driving on 65 or any of the roads down there, their drainage is much different than a typical suburb or a city. There's giant trenches off the road, and there's usually no guardrails. It's just giant trenches. So I went flying across her side of the highway. And as she hit me, and I realized I was going that way, I said, well, I'm screwed because my airbags already went off. Someone's going to just plow right through me. That's in her right lane. And I was just waiting for that and seeing where my soul went. And then I went flying off the road. And when I came to, there was this like angels, African-American couple, angels that were pulling me out of the car.
Wow.
And I'm like, I knew the first thing when I came to, I'm like, I shouldn't, like another car should have totally went right through me. And what wound up happening, these people were miles behind this car, blocking both lanes, calling 911. So they were like a pace car, if you watch NASCAR or any type of racing.
Yeah.
Where they did not allow any cars to pass them because they were calling 911 saying that this driver was either drunk or something was wrong with them. I've called 911 when I saw what I would assume a drunk driver. I never thought to block traffic. So was crazy to me that they happened to be there at that moment doing that, because then there's definitely no way I'd be here. And then, so that moment, and this was years ago, I became, I had about 30 or so companies in my holdings. I couldn't work. My brain is my weapon. My brain is my tool, everything. If I was a construction worker and you want to compare it to it, my brain is my hammer. That's what gets everything done. And I couldn't add 2 + 2. It would take me like 30 seconds to figure it out, which was not how I work. And Rich used to kind of see some of my stuff through the year, and I need to operate fast. I need to put things together. This is everything. So everything fell apart after that accident. I went millions in debt, and I realized I became very grateful that woman hit me, because the first and foremost thing is that she could have killed somebody and I'm still here. So that was the major blessing, is that I would take that hit over and over again, because she didn't kill anybody. She didn't ruin a family. So gladly take the hit. Secondly, what I was building, even though it was my own little great mini empire, and I thought it was great, it was doing well, was completely wrong. I had the wrong people around me, the wrong accounting, the wrong legal, the wrong everything, the wrong executives. I had the wrong model. And if that didn't get destroyed, and I didn't have a moment to step back, and even though I was in a dark, dark place, and I could have went to a even darker place mentally and hated the world and became very bitter and jaded, I realized this happened for a reason. Crying in a corner is not going to fix anything. My sister Lisa said probably one of the most important things during that time in my life. And she said, Brian, if it's just money, you can fix it, right? It's not a terminal disease. It's not some other, major life issue. And the way she said it and the timing that she said it just slapped me in the face verbally. And I was like, yeah, look what I did before. This is easy. I can come back from this.
Mm-hmm.
So, didn't file for bankruptcy, clawed back, worked with everybody that I didn't take any investor money at that time. This was all my own leverage, debt and assets, and building my companies. Just reinvesting and leveraging my ass. That was how I built things. So now, looking backwards, my God, we wouldn't be on this call today. I wouldn't have your great support and all the other people that I've met, because I realized during that entire journey, keeping my faith and understanding that God truly does give you what He knows you can handle. Sometimes you get a little pissed off at Him for doing that. Like, I don't need this. I don't need this reminder.
It's the wrong way. I don't want to go this way.
Right. But you can either, again, I don't want to get like, talk about Satan or anything, but there was a moment where I'm like, how do you make a deal with the devil? Like, I thought about that. Like, I don't even know how do you do that? Do you just go and be an awful person and then you get blessed with riches? And like, I was like, not that I'm going to do it, but how do you do it? Like, that was like part of my strategy. Like, is there a way to come back from this? Who do you go to sit down and make a deal with the devil with? Because I know so many people that I've met on this journey, soulless, ruthless, disgusting people, beautiful watches, beautiful cars, beautiful wives, beautiful boats, have everything that you would have as far as if you're considering success, pairing that with wealth. But they sold their soul. And I'm like, where do you even go to do that? Is that a different church that you go to?
I think social media really answers that question these days.
I guess so. But yeah, I mean, I was very, I thank God almost every day for allowing me to continue to be here and fulfill whatever purpose that I'm here for. And that accident and that experience seasoned me to really know that I can handle anything and overcome anything. And it allowed me to really elevate, I guess. We evolve as people, but it put that on steroids for me to really evolve to a whole new level, be so conscious as to it opened up like this sixth sense too with me. Like, my voice became stronger. If I sensed somebody wasn't good, even if I sensed it in the past, I just sat with it, and my gut was like, this isn't good. This person's not good. But because I don't like to judge people, I never really acted on that. I just allowed myself to be in that environment, and then it became toxic. But from that point on till now, if I sense something's wrong or evil, and I reference anybody, it's a movie buff. The Keanu Reeves, Devil's Advocate. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. But there's a scene when he's in Al Pacino's offices, and the walls moving and the faces are moving, and it's just completely evil. Like, I can see that in rooms, in boardrooms, in
Really?
homes, and I just leave. I do an Irish goodbye. I don't even say. I just get up and I leave, and I'm like, okay, grateful for that, because in the past I would sit there and just know it's not good, but I would be consumed in it and trying to figure out, is there something here I'm supposed to do, or is there somebody here I'm supposed to know? But when I sense that evil now, out as quickly as I
So do
can.
you
And
see it? Do you see it like
yeah,
visible?
I do. And I saw it in the past, except maybe it was my age or maybe it was my ignorance. I didn't act on it. I just allowed myself to be in that environment way too long. Even with people, I can just, if I can't look somebody in the eye, it's because like I can do eye contact all day long, but because I see somebody's soul. But when I don't see that or that reflection back to me, I look away and I sense it. It's very bizarre, but I'm very grateful I have this
So it's
because it,
I'll just put a name to it. It's a spiritual gift, and it's a prophetic gift that you're able to see in the spirit in such a way. I've had friends that are able to that have similar gifts. That sometimes they'll see a color, or sometimes they'll see
An aura around somebody.
either an aura, or they'll even actually see a demon around
Yeah,
somebody.
absolutely.
So that is a spiritual gift that I believe God gives us gifts, whether it's natural or spiritual, and there's a spiritual component to it that a lot of times I feel like there's a lot of, we'll just use church terms, a lot of prophetic people that have experienced so many different spiritual things, but maybe aren't involved in the church or don't know where to go or have need to ask these questions. But unfortunately, the church is very clean and whitewashed. It's like we don't want to talk about these quote unquote supernatural or these taboo subjects. We'd rather, just sing 2 fast songs, 2 slow songs, stand up, sit down, you know, pray, and we're out.
Right. Right.
But we're literally in this spiritual battle all the time. And I love, this is a fun subject for me. I like the spiritual aspect of things. If we're able to harness this gift, or actually learn how to operate in this gift set, then I believe that's where God wants us to live. And
Sure.
unfortunately,
That's like full enlightenment, I
yeah,
would assume. That's like when you reach the plateau as far as where you can go at this. Like, I love, again, the vessel. Like, my body's the vessel for my soul's journey. And this just happens to be a chapter of my journey. And I know I've been here before. I know I'm an old soul. I know there's things that I know and acknowledge and feel that I didn't have any experiences in this life, and I shouldn't have these strong convictions towards. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you said something that just reminded me that I know there's another level to all of this. And I have my own personal feelings as to, like, can this be hell where we are right now? Can this be some sort of level of even purgatory? And how do you get out of where we are right now? And that's continuously evolving and becoming enlightened and becoming truly connected with God. We're always going to have sin. We're always going to have some level of sin. We're not robots. We're not programmed to just avoid anything that goes against God's will or what he wants us to be. But the closest we can get to that, I believe you made it. And unfortunately, money, I think, messes a lot of that up.
it becomes a big distraction. That's for sure.
Yeah. It can be used for good, but then it motivates you to go out and make more, right? Or earn more. Even if you're doing good, trying to do good with it, it's still a catch-22 as to, is that your soul's purpose here, to become a slave to earning so you can help? Like, there's just a lot of moving parts and hard to balance our true north.
Right. Right. You've been able to build a significant company and enterprise. You mentioned before clean water. What areas have you been able to give clean water to communities? And do you
Yeah,
have
well,
a organization
with
that you work with?
a lot of them, with a lot of our partnerships, we partner with Charity Water, so they go around the world and dig wells for, a third world population and countries. We have blockchain and tokenization technology and companies, H2O Securities, which is an entire initiative is to fund water treatment plants through financing through tokenization, utilize that token to create a wealth generation or wealth enhancement tool for people that participate in that token that's attached to water utilities and the billing of these water utilities in certain municipalities around the world. And then because you can finance it more quickly and much more technology suite of products and solutions for the future of water treatment plants, you get these things up in a third of the time and a third of the cost. So when you roll these types of things out there, you can provide, which is every living thing's basic right, or for us, basic human right. We should never be deprived of water or fresh water. But it also does, Sam Kinison, if you watch, the comedian, does a whole skit about people living in the desert and why are we driving U-Haul trucks and tankers to people living in the desert. Move, get out of the desert, go where there is water. So there's I think everybody should have access to water and food and clothing and shelter. There's too much wealth in the world, and so it's offensive that anybody's thirsty right now. It's not right. It should never happen. And so anything I can do to help bring awareness and visibility. There's even water rights of certain regions that I participate in, so we have access to this. Yeah, a lot of also what I've been working so hard and building is I have this called a vision, but I have this foreshadowing of where humanity's going. So I also want to be able to provide and collect as much resources and access that I can so I can help, my inner circle too, my dear friends and family and loved ones, because if there is a holy F moment, um, where do we do? Do we even want to survive that holy F moment? But if we do, have I branched out enough where I am 1 degree like Kevin Bacon from anything to be able to protect my little unit?
Right.
So that's been a motivator for me too. Just true honesty and transparency. I see that there's I see there's something on the horizon. I want to be able to weather that storm.
Right. I love that. I love the that passion for water. I did a mission trip in Honduras. It's been 4 or 5 years ago. I guess it's
I did that in the late '90s for Habitat for Humanity, where we built a house.
and one of the ministries within this organization was they provided buckets, and there was a filter within the bucket, and you could just take it to the river water, and it would provide clean water to the people there. So
It's
uh
gonna be it's gonna trade like oil in our lifetime. People don't realize the scarcity of fresh water, not the ocean and salt water, but fresh water and it being clean and not being toxic or poisonous. We even have cities in the US like Flint and others that
mm,
have just very poison toxin water, and it's all from humanity. We did it. There wouldn't be this waste or these hazmat type of chemicals or products that are being dumped into our soil or
yeah.
into our water supply. I mean, I think the only thing that would create that from nature would be, I don't even know, uh, volcanic activity. I don't know what would cause anything to bring so much harm to a water supply besides human beings.
As a entrepreneur, how did you get kind of what led you into the space, into being an entrepreneur in the first place? What was the genesis moment for you?
Yeah, raised in an entrepreneurial household. My dad, so not a two working family. My dad was the one that was the provider, so I was raised under that type of experience. That's natural to me for the guy to go out and hunt and hopefully come back alive and provide food for the cave woman and cave kids. So I watched my dad get up and work his ass off every day, and until he passed away from ALS, he was still able to use his thumbs
Sorry.
and his phone. Yeah, more what's the word? Examples of stuff I've been through at a younger age than most. And also understanding that this life or this vessel of a body that we've been given is very short lived. But seeing him work so hard and provide for his family and what he did for his family was something that I admired. He had his faults, like any man, and we had a very unique relationship again because I was the youngest of four. I saw what worked and didn't work with him and my older siblings. So I managed the relationship. And I think I think I was probably closer to him consistently than the rest of my family because I really knew him. And I could say, even when he lost his voice with ALS, like he always laughed because I knew what he was saying before he said it. So he didn't, I just knew him to a T. So that's how I got my entrepreneurial bug, and as a son with a father like that, and a lot of sons around the world, whatever your dad does or did, you want to make him proud. So I always um, I wanted to surpass him, but in a healthy way. But that was one of the conflicts we had too, and I understood it. As an older man, either a father son relationship is completely supportive and benign as far as any egos or stupidity. I didn't grow up like that. There was support, and then there was jealousy because
Okay.
and I hate using the word jealousy, but I don't know what else to call it. There was this animosity anytime I did something good and I ran back to share with him as a son would. There were moments where he would be like, "That's great." More times than not, it was, "Well, I did this in 1975." Like it was okay. I'm like, I can't
Mm.
compete with that. I don't have Marty McFly's Back to the Future machine. I can't deal with that. So then that led to me also being smart enough to be like, okay, I'll just know what I can and can't share with you, so we don't mess up our relationship. And that's very taxing because life is hard enough, right? You got to get up, you got to figure it out, you got to go to work, you got to try to move the needle a little bit. Maybe 1 inch today, it goes back 3 inches, and then 5 inches the next day. It's a lot. So when you're dealing with that, and your home life or your family life is not balanced, you don't have a safe place to go. And I talk about this a lot. Like, your home has to be where you plug in your Tesla at night. It's got to just recharge. It's got to be calm and safe. And if your home life is not like that, then you're just spinning out of control, and it's not living. Like, you have nowhere to go, and that's a shitty place to be. And I've been there, and I try to teach entrepreneurs this, like, you should have two inner circles in your life. And I wish I learned this a long time ago. Your family and your friends and people you grew up with, that inner circle probably should never touch your business inner circle, because that should be like your safe zone. That's your escape. There's no competition, animosities, or jealousies. There's no BS going on there. It's just memories, good times, blowing out birthday candles, and love.
That's good
And
advice.
if you do share something from business with your first inner circle, make sure the damn deal closed. Make sure the wire hit the bank. Make sure there's no issues, because they're going to be all over you like white on rice. Well, I thought you said you got a big wire. Or I thought you said you closed a big deal. And then you feel insecure, and then you feel inadequate, and then you're lost. If you do share anything with your family or your first inner circle, make sure they're tangible, closed situations.
Yeah,
And then your other inner circle are your ride and die people, like you meet, like you, or people you meet on LinkedIn or throughout your professional career, that are just there for you to help you.
that's great advice. I can resonate a lot with what you said, because I worked with family for 20 plus years, and it was, legacy grandfather who was the entrepreneur. Well, I was the third generation. So second generation, I wouldn't say had the entrepreneurial spirit. And it was like, I'd rather just do the work, and let's see how things go. Here comes third generation, who's, oh, I have this vision, I have this, let's grow and let's go fast, and no time like today attitude. So that was me pushing things forward. At the same time, no leverage, no debt, working everything from ground level, only being able to grow so fast without leverage. But worked out great. No complaints there. And when you said working with friends, every time a friend wanted to buy something from the company, because we sold truck parts and accessories, so all the fun stuff that guys wanted to put on their trucks, lift kits and bumpers. And living in Texas, everyone wants a big bumper on their truck. Anyone who wanted to buy something always wanted a deal, but unfortunately, when they got the product, there was something always wrong with it, or there's some problem. Friends were always had more problems with their purchase than anybody else.
Always. Now, I had a rule. So my first company is in the beauty industry. We had a bunch of stores, every brand you could think of. So I had two issues. One is exactly what you're talking about, everybody wanted the deal. So I always made sure that our employees, I would go in the store and shop, pay full price. Family would go in the store and shop, pay full price. There's no deals. This is the price. The price is the price. So we eliminated that. The other thing was how many people I grew up with, friends, cousins, family members all over the place, never would come in our stores. but I'd see them at family events or weddings or funerals, and they'd ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, well, I guess you don't use soap or shampoo. Some kind of religion that you have that I don't know about? And like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, we never support anything that I'm doing. And these same people would always ask me to help them too. And it's just in my nature too to support anybody that I know. If I don't care if you had a coffee shop, I'm gonna go buy a cup of coffee. If you make muffins, I'm gonna buy your muffins. If you have an auto body shop, I'm gonna use you over somebody else. That's just who I am. And to not get that in return, I mean, there's every day you could sit and hate somebody, right? If you sat back and thought about it. But I chose not to do that. But I do like calling people out. And I think I'm very clever about it. I like making people think like, hey, be better. Forget about me. You already showed me your true colors with me, but going forward, be better.
Yeah. I think I want to land the plane here in a minute, and I really appreciate your time that you've given on this podcast. My last thought and question is, what would you say to a young entrepreneur that's or not even young, just a person who's been wrestling with the idea of stepping out on their own? They've been wrestling it with a long time. And again, I don't want to say young because I feel like there's plenty of people that are out there that have worked 20, 30 years in the marketplace, and they're just wrestling. Should I to take the step or not? What advice would you give to a new entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think so. Now, I think it's one of the best times in our humanity where you can do it in such a de-risked way, where I don't think you have to really sacrifice everything and just stop one job and start this other job. So I can explain a little further. You can create products now on the fly. You can create a website with ease. It's pennies that it used to be when it was tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars when I or you were growing up and trying to do these things. Like everything has been scaled down to make it easy for someone to go out and control their own destiny. So if you are a teacher and you have this bug to be an entrepreneur, you could do it in such a de-risk way where if you want to go and build a product, for example, or you want to create a service for yourself, you can do it where you go out and get a customer and get some revenue in and build your confidence up, and then still do your normal job that you have a degree in or that you've been working for 20 years, or if you're coming out of high school and you don't want to go to college and you want to go out and into the workforce and build your own business. All the tools and resources are there. And now I'm not the AI guy. I talk about this. It's kind of, and as a technologist and kind of someone that is adapt or die, I'm very cautious about AI and how we use it in our companies or the public company. There's an ethical component. There's something I'm like, again, my soul is saying, don't like that. So I stay away from it. I don't like it. But that aside, if you want to use it, hell, you can create everything, right? You can create your own business plan by telling ChatGPT to build you a business plan, and then all of a sudden this becomes your voice. Part of the brainwashing thing I was talking about earlier with TV, film, and music and media, like this is all telling us what it wants us to be told, and then we are thinking that this is what we're telling ourselves. It's the Twilight Zone. It's very Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
But all that aside, steps are, I would say, be very strategic about it, because why do you want to have to ravel your home life? Or why do you have to go and take a second mortgage on your house or max your credit cards? I think those days and the people that have done them, including myself, were because those were our only options, right? There's different options now, and you could do it so much systematically. Your mental health and wellness is key. If you're going to stress yourself out or stress your husband or wife out or your kids or your parents because you're taking this giant risk, there was a time, no risk, no reward. I don't believe that's the case anymore. I think there's such a safer, calculated way where you can pivot yourself into becoming an earnings vehicle or earnings vessel of things that you love, that you're passionate about, and you can systematically build this machine that earns on your terms.
That's good.
You can use, definitely go on LinkedIn, right? Look for people that you like their voice, not just the tone, but you like what they say, you like their messaging. Reach out to people, ask for help, get an advisor here or an advisor there, and then all of a sudden, what you want to do, and because you've entrusted somebody, because you've worked it, I don't say just ask them day one. You have to build a relationship and get them to trust you and have them understand what you're trying to do. But if you get an advisor or two that believe in you, that want to help you, then all of a sudden your little network becomes part of their big network. And you can really, again, build something and cut the line. I had to do everything working 24/7. That's how I am for the last 24 plus years. I'm never going to stop doing that because that's my DNA. People that I meet now that I want to help, they cut the line. They cut through all the crap that I went through. They cut through all those terrible. For every 1,000 people I met, one was a decent person. So I put them in my pocket, and they're there, and I nurture and cherish them. So if you're very genuine in your messaging, and you're very clear as to what you want to do, ask for help. It's the biggest strength you can think of. And again, what I said before, I think is the biggest advice I can give you, and I wish I learned it a lot sooner. Keep those two inner circles. Keep your family and friends and loved ones in one bucket, and that's just for one purpose. And go and build a professional network of people that you admire, people in the industry that you like, and start thinking how you want to get into that industry and how you want to build something in that industry. And then bring a couple of people on board to help you get there.
That's some good advice. Where would people find more information about Diamond Lake Minerals if they wanted
Absolutely.
to?
So diamondlakeminerals.com is the company website. Diamond Lake Minerals on all social medias. Myself, Brian J. Esposito on all social medias where I talk about all these things. And then the private holdings, Esposito Intellectual Enterprises, is EIE.rocks, EIE.rocks. And I'm always out there talking about what we're doing, always putting great partnerships together and great strategies in this space and all the spaces that I work in. And anybody that's listening that wants to reach out to me, be honored. I love hearing from people. It's a very humbling moment. I get back to everybody, and I always try to schedule some time with anybody.
Well, thank you for your time, Brian, and so glad to have you on here, and looking forward to what Diamond Lake continues to do in the space.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for all your support.